this Dave Ramsey one?
Heck yeah, let's do it.
All right. So this one's titled "I'm 59 years old with nothing saved for retirement," and yeah, we'll compare notes and see what he says. I haven't seen this. Lacey hasn't seen this, so we're coming in cold.
Listen, I haven't even heard the call yet, and I'm feeling like maybe he's going to tell someone to sell their car. Well, I don't know. Let's find out.
He's going to tell
Let's
them.
hear the call.
Yeah, let's sell your car.
He likes to tell people to sell their cars. So as a complete blind thing, not even hearing this scenario, sell your car. It does feel like it's
it might be in there. Yeah.
It might be in there.
Cut up your credit cards and sell your car. That's it. All right, let's see what he says.
Hi, Dave. Thanks for taking my call.
Sure. What's up?
Well, I just recently sold my home and paid off almost all of my debt. And but I'm 59 and I do not have any money in retirement. So I was wondering what your advice would be. Instead of taking all of the money that I have and putting it into a home, I was thinking that maybe I should beef up an investment account. But I know that your steps say that's like borrowing money to invest.
Right. Okay. So how much debt do you have? How much debt do you currently have that you have not paid off?
Well, I have a lease that has 30 months remaining, and it's $400 a month.
Good.
So,
okay.
But I just didn't think it would be wise to turn that over yet.
Okay. And do you have anything else?
Any debt? No.
Okay.
I am cash flowing my daughter's college right now, and no other debt.
Okay. And how much money do you have that is in your account today with the sale of your house after you paid off some of the debts?
Well, I have a total of $290. I put $10,000 in my emergency fund, and I have about $5,000 in an account because I haven't done my 18 taxes yet. I'm just getting ready to do them.
Gotcha.
But if I was going to do a step, I'm self-employed, and if I was going to do a step, I wanted to. I've been waiting to figure out what to do before I.
And what do you earn? What's your household income?
Introducing stocks by the slice from Fidelity. Now you can trade stocks and ETFs for any.
All right. Pause. 3, 2, 1.
$30,000 a year.
What kind of a business have you got?
I do small business bookkeeping for
Okay.
private individuals.
Very good.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's fairly low impact, so you can do more of it and do it longer. That's a good news.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, what price range was the home you sold?
It sold for $518,000.
Got it. Okay. And what city do you live in Florida?
I am just north of Palm Beach, Florida.
Okay. All right. As in the Jupiter market, like that?
Just about Jupiter.
Okay. I know where you are. Well,
I would like to stay in the $300,000 range for home, and so I was thinking maybe invest $200 into the house and take a small mortgage for 10 years.
okay, here's where we've got to get. Here's our ratios. Here's the three
All
or
right.
four numbers that are the.
Before he gets into his ratios. So did I understand that correctly? She has about $290K off the house. Part of it, 5 she needs for tax, 10 was into something else. Is that right?
Well, I thought I was hearing that differently. I thought you maybe have to listen to that again. I thought she had more from the house.
I thought she said 290 was the equity. Let's go back a little bit. Let's do this. She has the car lease, which, who cares?
Remaining, and it's $400 a month.
Okay, that's the car lease.
But I just didn't think it would be wise to turn that over yet.
Okay. And do you have anything else?
In debt? No.
Okay.
I am cash flowing my daughter's college right now, and no other debt.
Okay. And how much money do you have that is in your account today with the sale of your house after you paid off some of the debts?
Well, I have a total of 290. I put,
Yeah, 290.
10,000 in my
Okay.
emergency fund.
Okay, so 290. Let's skip ahead there to wherever. All right, so 290. She's talking about. So here's the deal, boys and girls. For the federal government, not states necessarily, but for the federal government, typically when you so if I buy a house, right? Let's say I buy a $250,000 house, and then in 5 years it goes up to it's now worth 350,000. So I made 100,000 in equity. Okay. Now when I sell the house, I can either take all the equity, the 100,000, right, in cash, in which case I have to pay tax on it. Or I can take that money and put it into another house as a down payment, but it has to be a house of equal or greater value. So it has to be a bigger house kind of thing, or a more expensive house. I can do that as long as it's like property, right? In the sense of, this is my primary living place. I'm moving to a primary living place, right? So I'm moving to a bigger house. I can do that. Now, if I try to do that where I go from a bigger house to a smaller house or a lower priced house, the IRS will not, I still have to pay tax on that money. The IRS will not let me do that, except for they will let you do it once in your life, the first time you do it. So if I want to go, in her case, she's going from a $518,000 home to, she wants to do like a $300,000 home. She can do it one time and the IRS will waive the taxes on some of that money. I don't know if the whole amount, but at least a large chunk of that amount. So she can do that. Now she said, okay, well, what if I put $200,000 on the house, etc. Right? There are a couple scenarios here where we could say, okay, well, if the IRS says, let's say the total is 250 is what they'll waive for taxes. So 40,000 she can't waive. Okay, well, what she can do is that she's gonna have to pay tax on that 40,000, no matter what we do. Of the 290, she can invest some of it now, or she can put it all down on the house. Now, what do you think Dave's going to do? I think he's going to say put it all in the house.
Right. Yep. And get rid of the car.
Yeah, just stupid. But anyway, so let's say she takes 190 and saves it. She's 59. So let's say, and she has a job where she could work for a while, but let's say she invests it till full retirement. So she'll be almost 67. So 190, she puts 100 in the house, right? So 190 for 8 years. Let's just conservatively say 8%, just to be fair. And then we haven't gotten to whether or not she's got extra money to save, but
And of course, he's going to tell her she can get 12.
yeah, well, whatever. We'll figure it out later. I don't know what else she can add to that account, but she's talking about putting in a SEP, so she might have extra money out of the 70 grand. But if she's paying the $400 leasing the car, her rent, and everything else, and she's helping her daughter with college, I don't know that she's got a ton of discretionary income that she can throw at investing. So we'll just assume she's not adding to that. But that 190 would be worth probably about 350 at 8% over 8 years. That's assuming she gets 8. But, I think that's a conservative number. But yeah, I mean, she could have over 300,000 in a retirement sort of scenario, retirement account. With a SEP, you can put up to 20% of your income, something like that. So she could do 10 probably in the SEP, no problem, and the rest in like a brokerage. And then just keep adding to the SEP. And then just rolling money in there and taking the tax deduction. But that would be that scenario. The negative to that would be if she had a $300,000 house. And let's go with right now. Interest rates are 7, right? And this was recent, so let's say she gets an interest rate at, let's say 6, just to be fair, for a $300,000 house, and she gets a 30-year mortgage. Let's say her payment would be um, $1,800 a month for a $300,000 house. But remember, in my scenario, she put down $100,000, so she's only borrowing 2. So she would have $1,200 a month for the payment on the house. Now, in her scenario, where she's putting $200,000 into the house, she would only have, it would be about $600 a month, about half what I'm guessing. But she'd only have 90 grand to save. We were doing 8% for 8 years. That'd be 166,000 in retirement savings.
And so with a SEP, it's actually 25%
for employees. For employees, for the employer,
or 22.5.
No, for employee, because when it is 25 for the employer, but when you factor in the how you do the taxes, it ends up being 20. Trust me, I've done a ton of them. It ends up being 20 for the employer, and since she's self-employed, she'd only get to put in 20. If she was paying for her employee, she could put in 25%. So, but yeah, good call on that one. But yeah, I mean, so she'd have roughly $200,000 less in savings, right? But she'd only have a $600 a month payment on the house. As opposed to, we could even take, her house in 8 years, and if she has enough in retirement savings, she could put a $50,000 payment down and get rid of, to lower her payment, right? Refinance, which she'd probably do anyway at a lower interest rate. So, yeah, I mean, there's a couple different things she could do. I think probably a smarter move would be to have the cash saved, because if she's in a position where she needs money in retirement or more money in retirement, if she gets sick and she can't work or something happens, she has it liquid, or at least fairly liquid, as where a home is illiquid, which is the one thing he always misses, right? And, if she's getting a home loan and she's struggling or whatnot, she can always refinance or do other things. There are other options there. So there's not like an immediate, like she's going to be evicted if she doesn't pay 1 month, right? Or she's behind or something. As opposed to if she has a medical problem and she needs the cash right away, or if she has, a financial emergency or whatever it is, right? All kinds of things can happen. She at least has the cash available. Because if she's in a situation where she needs money and she doesn't have it, then the only asset she has is the house, and she's got to sell the house to get cash to raise money, which is the big risk of putting all your money directly into the illiquid asset.
Right, and he's going to get her to give up this lease vehicle she's got, and he'll have her more under the house.
Yeah, let's see what he does.
Yeah,
let's see if there's more information that comes out here. Oh, I'm not getting any sound. Hello. What did we do? Where were we?
More of it and do it longer. That's a good news.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So, what price range was the home you sold?
It sold for $518,000.
Got it.
What?
we got to go further than that. We were further along than that.
Yeah, no, we were right about. We weren't that much further. I also want to remind everybody, this is 1 1/4 speed. This is how slow he is.
Okay. And what city do you live in Florida?
I am just north of Palm Beach, Florida.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. As in the Jupiter market, like that?
Just about Jupiter.
Okay. All right. I know where you are. Well,
I would like to stay in the $300,000 range for a home, and so I was thinking maybe invest $200 into the house and take a small mortgage for 10 years.
And here's where we got to get. Here's our ratios. Here's the 3 or 4 numbers that are the big numbers in your equation. Okay, by age 70 something. Okay, 15 years, 75. Okay, 15 years from now, we have to have a nest egg and a paid-for house. We currently have $290,000 to do that with, and we have $70,000 a year to do that with. Okay, and so that's you working to 75. Okay, if we, or to 72 or whatever. If we say 12 years, I don't care.
Oh wait, I don't know where he's getting this. Does he have some chart somewhere that I'm not aware of?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Why don't you ask her what she's trying to do?
Well, he doesn't care what she's trying to do. He's got a formula. Let's hear the rest of his formula.
Oh my
You're
God.
stopping him.
Oh, okay, sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt the guru here. My bad.
Look and chug your formula. Let's hear the rest of the formula.
All right.
Okay, she's going to work until she keels over her desk.
Yeah, she's going to work till she's 75. And she's going to somehow pay off the house. And somehow have enough in retirement savings.
$290,000
Right.
Because if you do not have a paid-for house when you're through working, you're going to have a major problem because it destabilizes your whole situation to have a mortgage when you are retired. You do not want to go into retirement with a mortgage. So we've got to clear the house.
Why not?
The second thing, then, every dollar we pay into this house, obviously.
That doesn't make any sense. Should I keep playing this? Do you want to hear the whole thing before we go at it? Because the.
No, I want to hear the rest of it.
Don't have
Oh God.
And borrowing it doesn't fix that because we got to. If you borrowed on your house and say, okay, I want to put 200 down and I have a $100,000 mortgage, well then I still got to pay the $100,000 off, and that's still $100,000 that's not going into my retirement nest egg. So what would I do if I woke up in your shoes? Okay, here's what I would do if I woke up in your shoes. I don't know what you'll do, but this is what I would do. I would buy a $200,000 house for cash, which in your area ain't much of a house. Okay? It's an okay house. It's certainly not a shack, but it's a pretty far step down from where you were living. I understand that when I'm saying this. I'm going somewhere with this. Don't quit on me till we finish talking, okay? So I would start there, and I'd pay off my car today, find out what the early buyout on it is. It's probably around 12 grand, probably 11 grand, something like that, and find out what the buyout is and just pay the stupid thing off and own the car, okay? Or sell it and get one that you pay cash for. I don't care. Spend $10,000 or $12,000 doing that. $20,000, whatever it takes. Let's get out of this car lease. No more payments. Now we got 0 payments now in my little scenario, the world I just invented. Okay, and we've got $50,000 or so to start our investing process into good mutual funds. Then you load up a SEP, you load up a Roth IRA, and you do everything you can to increase the number of accounts you keep books for. And let's increase your income, and let's bust it for a few years. Now, if we can get you up to $500,000 in savings for your retirement in a few years, and you want to move up in house and pay cash for the move up, that'll be okay. That means we've gotten past the danger zone. But you retiring with 0 money or close to 0 money and a nice paid-for house is...
Okay, so in his scenario...
What's crazy is he just left her with only $50,000 to invest, and he somehow thinks in a few years he's getting her up to having $500,000 invested in her retirement accounts when her income has been $70,000. I'm sorry, I understand how the power of compounding is a beautiful thing, but I don't know what the hell you're compounding to get to $500,000. And I know he's telling her to get more accounts, but I don't think she's going from $70,000 to $300,000 in the course of the next year or anything. Like, that's a jump most people aren't making.
Well, let's say 15 years she has $500,000. That's what he's saying by the time she's 75. So she'll have $500,000. She'll be too old to spend it, but that's the whole thing here, kids, is trade your youth, trade the good years of your life so you could have a lot of money when you're old and can't do anything with it. That's the whole fucking scenario. But let's say 15 years, and I'm giving him 12% interest, $50,000 to start. How much would she have to contribute each year to get to $500,000? Okay? Let's see. 12%. if I did that right. That can't be right. Hang on. Oh, Jesus. This out. So let's say, because that seems like ridiculous to me. So let's say that.
I'm not even doing like, hardcore math, but just like napkin math is making me feel like he's saying she needs to be saving like 30 grand a year, roughly.
Oh no, she needs to be
Maybe not quite, but
she needs to be saving. I'm doing on 10%. I'm on 12. She needs to be saving 20,000 a year. So 1,700 a month. 1,000 times 8. So she's making roughly around $4,600 a month. He wants her to. So 4,600. Remember that number real quick. He wants her to save 1,700 a month. So she needs to save 37% of her income to get to, and 15 to be 75 with $500,000 by his scenario. How is she paying for her daughter's college? No, she's not. Granted, she doesn't have a mortgage payment, but she's going to probably have an HOA payment. She's going to have to pay for, taxes and maintenance and all that shit on the house. As we're with my scenario, it's like, okay, yeah, you still have a mortgage on the house, right? But you got a $300,000 home that has a much better chance of growing in equity than a $200,000 piece of shit, like he's suggesting. So at least you have the home gaining in some value. On top of that fact, in my scenario, by the time she's 67, if she invests 190,000 I put in, if she invests 190,000, she could have over $300,000 sitting in a bank account, sitting in a brokerage account or in a retirement account. So she'd have $300,000 to $350,000 cash, and I'm using 8%. I'm giving him 12. So I've handicapped myself, and I've still put her in a better position at 67 than he's put her in at 50 or at 75. The one thing I agree with is if she wants to pay off the car, I'm like, that's not a bad idea.
well, yeah.
If you want to get rid of the fucking car payment, I mean, you can. You don't have to.
I'm gonna say I freaking called it, even blindly, that he'd tell them to get rid of the car. That being said, car leases are a really expensive deal. Like, they really are a really, really expensive way to have a car, and so
yeah, at $400 a month. Well, she said
she can use that money for better things.
Well, she said she has 30 payments. That's $12,000. So
right.
If you just want to pay $12,000 and get rid of the fucking payment,
especially since you have the money because of the sale of the house, like
right.
Just make that go away.
Yeah, it's one of those where it's like I would tell the client it's kind of up to you what you want to do. If it were me, the only reason I would mainly do it is just so I don't have to worry about that fucking payment. I never have to think about it. It's gone.
Right, and turn your focus onto something else.
Yeah, I'm just lazy that way. I would rather just get rid of it because of that, because I don't want to have to pay that every month. But and then it'd be like, okay, and then if you did that, you could save maybe we could save $400 a month, which would add to your nest egg. Yeah, but this whole throw it all at the house and just buy a house cash. It's like, okay, potentially what we could do though is she'd be saving, let's say, $1,200 a month. So let me do this real quick. Let's see. So let's say she could save $1,200 a month, so she'd have to add another $500 on his plan to make it to that. So if she got rid of the car and the house, so 400, let's say 1,200 for the house, so 16. So she could actually be at $500,000 by 75 roughly by his method. Or if she did my method and she invested the 190, and I'm going to give myself 10% now because fuck him. That's why. And she was making a payment on the house and the payment on the car. So let's say she didn't invest anything else, hypothetically, just to make it fair. I would have her at $790,000. So I still kick his ass by almost $300,000. And
There you go.
he's getting 12%, and I'm only getting 10% by his calculations. I mean, that's just ridiculous. The thing that they miss, I mean, compound interest is great and everything, but you have to have money first. And if you have $200,000 to throw in there right now, it's gonna grow quick. I mean, it's just a matter of time, especially if you've got 10 or 15 years.
Rule of 72, if you are, using your 10% that we gave you, it doubles in 7 years. So if she puts 200,000 in, if she really works till his 75, she could double it twice.
Yeah. Well,
Then she's.
But under mine, but you're using the old the 10% calculation, because in mine it does double twice. It goes to 4, right. And then it goes to almost 8.
Right.
By his method, she's got to save money every month because she doesn't start with the big amount to double.
Uh-huh.
So
Correct.
It's a monthly installments that are getting put in there. So as the monthly installments trickle in, she's got to pay out all that money every month. On top of that fact, by the end of it, I mean, the upside to his is at mine. She's got $790,000, but she still has a mortgage payment. The car's paid off by now, but she still has a mortgage payment, right? And so, even hypothetically on that, what is she going to owe on the house? Left on the mortgage payment? If she really, really wanted to, we could take money out of that $790,000 and pay off the house. And she'd still have at least $600,000 left, at the very least. And she wouldn't have had to kill herself because she would also had the option at 67 to retire.
Mm-hmm.
And if she only wanted to work part-time and enjoy her time more. Yeah, the difference is he's assuming that this is all about acquisition of as much shit as you can get. Acquisition of wealth.
Right.
As opposed to, do you want to enjoy the good years you have left? You got to tell me your priority as the client, because this just seems, I mean, basically he's got her working till 75 so she can have all this shit that, okay, but now you're 75. You're too old to use it.
Right. I mean, he assumes that his priorities are the ones that everybody is inclined to have.
Right.
He doesn't assume there's a diverse sort of group of people with diverse needs and hopes,
I guess that makes sense. So if you're a multimillionaire and grew up with a lot of money. Let's see what else. But yeah.
Not a plan.
Right.
And so I'm going to scale your house back to get the other stuff started. And then, in 5 years, when you see that this is working, and you want to move up in house again, move up to about 400 and pay cash for it. And, I think you'll be able to do that later in this plan.
Whoa. Where's she going to get the 400,000?
I told you that earlier. I told you that. He's got her. You totally missed that part. He somehow thinks that she's going to make it to $500,000 in the next few years. Those are his words. You took this as by the time she's 75. No, he said in the next few years when you get this to $500,000.
Well, even then, the 200,000 Okay, so let's start with the 50,000. She's going to get to 200,000. I'll give him 12% again, and she's going to get
It's
there.
not happening in the next few years.
Well, let's say 8 years, just to be simple. What would she have to? Jesus Christ! She has to save 26,000 a year. She has to save $2,200 a month. It's half her income.
Well, not under his plan. Under his plan, she's like taking on freaking double the clients or something.
Yeah, she's working 90-hour weeks. Jesus Christ. So you have no life and you don't get to enjoy any of your retirement. But when you die, you'll have some money.
And you can get a bigger house again.
Yeah. That way, when you go to Valhalla, you can take it all with you. The Vikings believe that you could take all. Yeah. There it was.
I'm a Viking. I'm aware.
Okay, yeah.
Sure, we first have got the wolf away from the door.
Mm-hmm.
So I would live in that $200,000 house for 3 to 5 years while I got my nest egg roaring. And when it's roaring, it's
Oh,
big.
shit. That's even better. 3 to 5 years? God, I did 8, didn't
He
I?
said, you do not listen to me, I swear.
I swear to God, you're right. Sorry, Lacey.
You. He did not mean 8 years. You were like, well, maybe in almost a decade she'll have that much and she could. No. He somehow thinks magically in under 5 years this woman's going to be up to $500,000 on his plan and she's going to be able to get double the house that she gets under his original plan. It literally doesn't make any sense. Like, he literally is broken and can't do math.
Yeah, she'd have to save $45,000 a year.
Which is more than half of her income.
Yeah.
Even, okay, here's what I would give.
Even if we gave her 100,000 equity in the house.
From $70,000 a year to 90, like if she took on more clients, she could go from like 70 to 90, but like that's still freaking half her income.
Yeah. What did I do? Oh, this got that screwed up. Oops. Yeah, this is just ridiculous. I might have done that wrong. Hang on, let me double check. 12, 5 years, 500,000. Let's say 400,000. Let's say she gets $100,000 equity for the house. She'd have to pay. Yeah, she'd have to save $4,000 a month, almost $50,000 a year, and she only makes $4,600. So she's gonna have to live off $600 a month somehow. I don't know where they're getting these numbers from. And he promised us a couple ratios, and he never gave us any ratios. Do you ever notice that? Does he know what a ratio is?
I don't think so.
Yeah. Usually you have to divide something by something to get a ratio, Dave.
One number over another number looks a little like a fraction.
Yeah. Oh, man. Well, that was Dave. I don't know that I want to. Do you want to see any more of this, or?
No,
Yeah, it's not much.
We're good.
We're good. Well, did you want to do one more, or you good for today?
I feel like I'm good for today. I'm tired,
All
honestly.
right, cool. Well, then let's wrap up, and we'll catch everybody next
If
time.
everyone's good, we can hold it over if it's interesting.
I haven't really watched it, so I don't know. Anyway, yeah. So that's it. We're